of the Geneva organized by Diffusion International, opposing Diffusion against the European All-Stars for the lineup of Diffusion number 9, Noel Zurek, number 10, Geneva, number 6, Zilan Africa, and number 8, Stephen Bryan. For the lineup of the European All-Stars, number 9, Chris Gordon, number 8, Ryan Waits, number 12, Light Lynch, number 9, Youssef Rifi, number 5, Mark Ortiz, and finally number 10, Michael Cole.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the moment you were waiting for. The final organized by Goals Beyond Grass International. This final promises to be really entertaining. Two great teams, Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry in black and the European All-Stars in green. The final will start in 5 minutes, as we need to respect exactly the time that was planned. Very good players today on the field. From each team. So I'm going to do quickly the lineup for you. In Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry, we've got Brahim Slimani, Noel Zeren, Amokron Vilal, and Erwan Konk. For the European All-Stars, number 9, Chris Gordon, number 12, Liam Lynch, number 5, Marwan Baziz, number 7, Youssef Rifi, number 10, Matthew Crowley, and finally number 8, Brian Weiss. A small particularity of this final will be judged by only by women. Donc alors, comme je le vous disais, cette finale va être arbitré par un jury entièrement féminin, ce qui est plutôt pas mal et qui nous montre que ben voilà, le foot fauteuil, ce n'est pas qu'une histoire d'hommes. Mais que c'est une histoire qui inclut tout le monde, peu importe l'âge, le genre, la race, l'âge, ou bien même le handicap. Get ready, we're gonna start. Teams have lost absolutely 0 matches today. But this invisibility will start to end in a few minutes for one of them. Apparently the referee, Marie Mehay, is waiting for the approval of the fourth referee. And this is the beginning of the final. The European All-Stars against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry, and that's a 2-on-1 violation conceded by Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Brian Weiss opening for Marwan Baziz. Oh, and that's quite bad. Of control on this. Kick for Noel Ziren to Marwan Baziz. Marwan Baziz in opposition, opening for Gordon. Now Youssef Raifai, and does quite a good rotation, but it's not dangerous. And we don't know what Amokran Zilal just did. I don't know, maybe he just wanted to hit the goal pitch, that's possible. And they're laughing quite a lot. I think he had a small trouble to control his wheelchair. And Brahim Slimani trying to deviate the ball. Marwan Baziz. Oh, opening to Gordon. Gordon Baziz. Reverse rotation, and that's quite, yes, good to see. Brian Weiss. Oh, and that's a shot from, actually I would say, yes, from Brahim Slimani, the number 6. Has to be a little bit cleaner on his actions. Brian Weiss to Gordon. Gordon Weiss, yes, that is passing without any problems. Brahim Slimani, now Marwan Baziz, that is continuing to, that opens to, yeah, back to Brian Weiss. And that's a 2-on-1 violation conceded by Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. And that gives a nice to Chris Gordon. And oh, actually Brahim Slimani was not at 5 meters. Yes, opening for Marwan Baziz. We can see that the All-Stars in a few minutes in the game are installing their games, installing their tactics. Yes, there was a 2-on-1 violation, but the referee decided to leave the advantage. And yes, that's a kick in for the All-Stars. Marwan Baziz to Brian Weiss, back, and Brian Weiss that misses his rotation. I mean, actually you can't miss rotations like that in final. This really, really dangerous. And this gives a nice kick in for Epsilon. Noel Ziren, yes, open to Brahim Slimani. Oh, and that's, yeah, Erwan Konk rotation, and that's not a goal. That was at absolutely a few inches to enter. And that's, yeah, that's a goal kick for the European All-Stars. We can say that up to now the European All-Stars had a dangerous action. Yes. Now Marwan Baziz. And that's a 2-on-1 violation conceded by the European All-Stars. Erwan Konk. Oh, and actually we had Marwan Baziz that blocked the ball, but it's still a kick in for Ypsilon. And Erwan Konk alone. And no, well defended by Chris Gordon. Marwan Baziz that leaves the ball for Brian Weiss. That obtains a kick in. Gordon, waist, and that's a 2-on-1 that is not whistled. Yes, we come back to the fall. Donc comme je vous le disais au début de ce match, donc toujours 0-0 pour l'instant. Et une action très 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 dangereuse si vous nous rejoignez que vous avez raté de la part de l'équipe d'Upsilon qui était à 2 doigts de mettre un but. Gordon, Baziz, waist for Gordon. Yeah, we see all of these players playing together, and that's a 2-on-1 and 2-on-1. Now Air One Kong blocking that ball, playing against Gordon. Gordon that puts that ball out of the pitch and for Upsilon Chutney-Malbury. Air One Kong to Noel Ziren, and no directly on Marwan Baziz. Marwan Baziz, and that's a kick in for the European All-Stars. So these two teams like to play with all of their players, though we can say that the European All-Stars like to play with a game that is a little bit more wide. They like to open and to play with absolutely no goalkeeper in the box. Brahim Slimani that tries to, yes, that passed it to One Kong, but decided to stop the ball. That's a kick in. Kick in for the European All-Stars. I mean, we could hear the coach of Upsilon Chutney-Malbury that is asking to continue the pressing on the other team. Chris Gordon, yes. Two-on-one violation conceded by Chris Gordon to Wace, and that's a 2-on-1 violation, yeah. Epsilon Chutney-Malbury that has a tight game. Players are a little bit too close to each other. Youssef Raifai that opens Wace, and oh yes, Youssef Raifai obtains. And no, that's not actually a 2-on-1 violation. That is a referee mistake on this. And she decides to do a 1-on-1. Brian Weiss that will try, I guess, to find something. Brian Weiss that will maybe open, and no, he obtains a corner kick. Corner kick for Weiss, and that's now a kick in directly on Air One Kong.
Half time, we change.
Weiss, it's not well striked. Chris Gordon, yes, now for Weiss, and Amkran Zilal continues. The ball is not rolling and should be stopped actually. Yes, Gordon to Baziz, and now Weiss. Oh, that's beautiful, but it is well protected by L1 Kong. Open to Gordon, and oh, and that's a goal. And apparently the referee says that there was a 2-on-1 violation, but the referee decided to say that this is just a goal This is one for the European
Open to
All-Stars
Gordon and
that are now leading this game
that
against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Erwan Kank.
Ah oui, leur bleu, là, il a les mêmes couleurs que nous. C'est qui le capitaine là?
Brian Weiss directly on Brahim Slimani. Brahim Slimani. Oh, touches with the back of the wheelchair. That's already 2 shocks. That should be sanctioned. Sanctioned. Marwan Baziz. And that is very dangerous. That is very dangerous. No one to cut the ball or something like this. Chris Gordon. Oh, Baziz. Oh, that's. Looks like there's a flipper on the field. Brian Weiss opens for Rifi. Oh, and that's a nice deviation, but it's well protected by Erwan Kank. Amokran Zilal now. Amokran Zilal versus Youssef Rifi. And dangerous. And now Youssef leaves the ball to Gordon. And Chris Gordon prefers to put that ball in a kick-in. Whoa, and that's a point kick. The ball went very fast. Looks like they decided quickly to impress them a little bit. And that's not a goal. That's just a goal kick now, as the ball went just behind the goal pitch. Amokran Zilal. That's a 2-on-1 violation, apparently, considered by Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. And you can hear actually the coach of Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry that is quite shouting a lot, Abdedine Sebian. We're not hearing Brian Dix. That's that stays actually I don't know, peacefully quiet, drinking a Coke. But that's really dangerous. Oh, that's very dangerous. Oh, and that's a very strong shock. And actually, yes, actually, Erwan Kank made a huge shot on the foot guard of Brian Weiss. So this is just a free kick. And nice deviation from Youssef Rifi. And Gordon now. Oh, Youssef Rifi maybe. Oh, and yes, Erwan Kank, that is actually okay. She prefers to whistle the 2-on-1 violation. And it's absolutely true. Wise 4. Youssef Rifi that lets is showing his determination. Chris Gordon on Baziz. Baziz wanted to give it back to Gordon, but that's missed. And Brahim Slimani, that is, yes, that is winning his duel, but that puts that ball out of the pitch. And that's now a kick in for the European All-Stars. Brian Weiss plays quickly, but it goes to no players, absolutely no players touches that ball. And Brahim Slimani,
En retrait, t'as du bon.
yes, Brahim Slimani
En place, trouve quelque chose.
gets a kick in.
Gêne devant.
Noel Ziren,
Amo, pourquoi t'es pas devant lui?
I like to call him the surgeon, as that guy is very precise and very powerful. You're going to see that in a moment. I hope you won't get me wrong.
Recule tout de suite, Amo.
Noel Ziren, and yes, that's really clever on Erwan Konk and Brian Weiss. That lets that ball out. Erwan Konk again, Brian Weiss, and Gordon Weiss. And Erwan Konk doesn't succeed to stop Weiss. Weiss again decides to put the ball back to Gordon, and that's out of the pitch. Kick in. For Epsilon Châtenay-Malabry. And that's a 2-on-1 violation, yes. 2-on-1 violation, yes, conceded by Epsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Brian Weiss. Ooh, and Youssef Raifa and Amkran Zilal are shocking their wheelchair. 2-on-1 violation. Conceded again by Epsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Chris Gordon. Baziz. Gordon again for Baziz. Well defended by Erwan Konk. Youssef Rifi that decides to avoid the ball. Chris Gordon. Oh, Youssef Raifa that is wrongly placed, yes. Oh, and that's a huge counter. That could have been a goal. That's very dangerous. I don't know, they decide to play very dangerously. And Marwan for Gordon. Marwan again. Sorry, Weiss for Gordon and Gordon again. But that's out. Kick in for the European All-Stars. Erwan Konk. Erwan Konk actually that played the final of the European Champions Cup against Chris Gordon with actually Brian Weiss. And it's quite strange to see that, that in the European All-Stars you've got a lot of players. I mean, actually 2 players from Epsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Yes, Amokran Zilal, that is shocking. And of course, that's a full. Direct kick in for the European All-Stars. Chris Gordon is about to kick that ball for Weiss. And that's now Raifa. And that's not a 2-on-1 as the goalkeeper was there. And it was not a player. That's a 2-on-1 violation for the European All-Stars. I mean, maybe, I don't know if you can hear, but Similal continues to influence the referee out of the pitch, trying to be funny. Noel Ziren, and that's a 2-on-1 violation. Yes, Chris Gordon. Team. That's it. Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry that has the occasion for a goal.
Ouais, Brahim. Ouais, Brahim.
And Brahim Slimani puts that ball just out. And that occasion was completely missed,
Non, mais
unfortunately.
non, faites pas ça, foutez pas à 4. Faites pas ça.
And that's the end of the first half of the game. European All-Stars against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Actually, the first half of that game was very intense, and it's the European All-Stars that are leading with 1 goal against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. We're going to be back in a few minutes just to let the players, talk with their coach. So get ready for the second half of final of the Geneva Cup edition 2019. We're now back for the second half of the final of the Geneva Cup edition 2019, organized by Goals Beyond Grass International. A final that is now led by the European All-Stars, 1-0 against Ypsilon. Brahim Slimani absolutely no substitutions, and yes, 2-on-1 on Châtenay-Malabry. Brian Weiss, yes, that couldn't find Youssef Raifai, but that obtains a nice kick in. Brian Weiss, Chris Gordon, opens to Gordon. Gordon reverse rotation, maybe no. He prefers to play safe and lets that ball out of. Was ready to counter the ball. Noel Zeren directly on one disease, and that's another kick in. The referee almost got shot in her head. Noel Zeren, that yes, but obtains a better kick in, and I think maybe it will continue till he has a corner kick that will allow the players to go, the goal, stay behind the line. Baziz, yes, for Youssef Raifai, yes, that's good. But Brahim Slimani is, yeah, that's conceded by the European All-Stars. And that was quite strong from Erwan Konk. Didn't reach Noel, but was deviated by Brian Weiss. That's another kick in for Ypsilon. And that's unfortunately, yeah, as the coach of Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry says, that Brahim Slimani had to let that ball pass. Brian Weiss, that is and just to on the game, but on the side and not in the center of the pitch. Oh, that's well done on Gordon, but Gordon cannot control it as he wants. Brian Weiss continues. Brian Weiss. And yes, that's a shock. That is sanctioned. And the ball is for the Stars. Noel Zeren. Directly on, yes, on Gordon. He's Noel Zeren again. Noel Zeren, yeah, a little bit too late. And that's a shock. on the rear wheel, conceded by Epsilon Malabry.
Allez, pratique.
Brian Weiss on Liam Lynch, and well stopped by Erwan Kong, the number 10 of Epsilon Malabry.
C'est pas respirer. Brahim, c'est bien. Va partir au compte, Brahim.
Brian Weiss. Brian again. Liam Lynch. Weiss. And no, that's not a 2-on-1 violation. Actually, players are quite far from each other. Weiss gives the ball for. Yes. Oh, no, that's dangerous. I mean, if Amokran Zilal
C'est bien, Brahim. Ça va finir par payer.
had the possibility
Très bien, les deux.
to cut that ball, I think it would be this would be a goal for sure.
En place. Pour vous, les gars. Allez.
Kick in for Noël Ziren. Noël Ziren for Erwan Konk. Yes, Brahim Slimani alone against Ryan Weiss, and there's Gordon that comes back to help the defender. The ball's out. That's a kick in for the European All-Stars. Number 5, Marwan Bazi, is about to put that ball back in the game. Marwan Bazi is for Gordon. Brahim Slimani cannot do anything on this. Erwan Konk. Yes, 2-on-1 violation conceded by the European All-Stars. That's a kick in for Epsilon Malabry and Noël Ziren. Decides to play. Yeah, quite strongly directly on Marwan Bazi, but that's good. As Erwan Konk has the ball, and Erwan Konk will try to to leave that ball in the game. Oh, and that's a strong shot, actually. And I don't know why the referee decides to say that it is the conceded by the European All-Stars. Luckily, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's the European All-Stars that must have the ball. I mean, we could see that Noël Ziren just bounced Brian Weiss. There's a lot of shots. I think at some point the referee will have to put some yellow cards. And the referee just tells to the players to go slowly. Erwan Konk for that kick in. That's another kick in for Epsilon Malabry. Erwan Konk, oh, that's very, very. And apparently the referee stopped the game just to do some adjustment on the wheelchair of Liam Lynch. Brian Weiss. And yes, that's a 2-on-1 violation. I mean, very easy to Liam Lynch to create that that fall. And whoa, that's I don't know. I mean, the Epsilon team is doing lots and lots of mistakes now, and it is more and more dangerous. Chris Gordon decides to strike that ball. And indeed, if there's a nice counter-attack. This is a goal. Another kick in for the European All-Stars that are leading that game. 1 goal now against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Chris Gordon, Brian Weiss. Now Amakranzila, the goalkeeper, that decided to go out of his box. Chris Gordon again. Opens for Marwan Bazid. Liam Lynch! That's crazy end! This is not a goal. Chris Gordon didn't put that ball between the two goal pitch, but just outside, and this is a goal kick for Erwan Konk. Yes, that's nicely played. Liam Lynch blocked the ball. I mean, it's quite impressive to see that young player doing so great. Yes, and now Marwan Baziz again, Liam Lynch, Brahim Slimani, Brian Weiss, and that's a 2-on-1 violation, yes, conceded by the All-Star.
T'as pas justifié ça, Marie, t'as bien sifflé, c'est tout. Allez, va te passer derrière. Brahim.
Well, and that was, yes, that was really, really dangerous, and actually the referee decides to give a yellow card. A yellow card to Erwan Konk, and actually this is the first yellow card that this referee is giving. Premier carton jaune pour Erwan Konk. Voilà, alors comme on peut le voir, l'équipe d'Ypsilon qui a quand même un peu de mal à installer son jeu. Et les European All-Stars qui sont quand même assez spectaculaires avec un Liam Lynch qui joue extrêmement bien. Réussi à provoquer des fautes. Brian Weiss. Oh, and that was a shock actually by Slimani, and the ball is for the European All-Stars. That's a kick in, still 1-0 for the European All-Stars against Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Toujours 1-0 dans cette rencontre pour les European All-Stars face à l'équipe d'Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry. Noah Zeren. Oh, directly on the goal, on the defender. Brian Weiss that blocked the ball without moving. And actually, I think Ypsilon needs to be a little bit more precise to be able to find something. Brian Weiss again, directly on Brian Weiss. And yes, that's another kick in. Noah Ziren that asked for the 5 meters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually, if you're looking at us now, the rule of the 5 meters means that when the ball stopped, there's a kick in or any free kick or corner kick. We need, I mean, the team that has not the ball has to stay at 5 meters. Chris Gordon directly on Brahim Slimani, but Brian Weiss, oh, that's well done. It was really clean, this intervention. And he just stole the ball of Brian Weiss. Now gets an interesting kick in. I think actually what I would have advised is to maybe look for a corner kick right now, just to strike as strong as possible on the goalkeeper or on the defender. But no, it was directly on Brahim Slimani, and apparently it seems like the Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry team doesn't know exactly what they're doing. And that's quite bad and sad to see that. Because we wanted to see yes, Brian Weiss for Marwan Baziz.
Changement approché.
Erwan Konk trying to contain Brian Weiss, but this is hard to do. Brian Weiss for Gordon. And yes, the goalkeeper defends really, really well. 2-on-1 violation conceded by Upsilon Chetna Malabry, and actually this is now the time of a small substitution. The number 12, Liam Lynch of the European All-Stars, is replaced by the number 10, Matthew Crowley. So the substitution is also asked by the Upsilon Chetna Malabry team that decides to change its goalkeeper. So the new goalkeeper is actually Erwan Konk, and Amukran Zilal is now a player on the field. And not limited to yes, to the defense. And actually, Amukran Zilal is a very good player in really clever ways. And there's only 4 minutes left actually in this second half of the game. Explanations of the coach Abdedin Sebian is to ask Amukran Zilal to be a little bit more offensive. And to do what we call screens. So basically screens is a technique, a way to block the defender when there's a corner kick. And it means that basically go out. It has to predict where the ball will go. And it's harder to defend. And that's the kind of butterfly kick. Amukran Zilal has the ball, and it was well defended by Erwan Konk. And that's a nice counter attack. But Noel Zeren was too short. And unfortunately, Noel Zeren cannot go faster even by going in reverse. As for this competition, we limited, the forward speed and also the reverse speed. Now, Marwan Baziz to Brian Weiss. The ball is for the European All-Stars. Oh, that shock each others. They need to communicate a little bit more, or they will break their own wheelchairs. Yes, Brian, again from Marwan. That's another shock. Must be sanctioned by the referee. And the referee that decide to what? Okay, the referee was not precise about the indication she gave, but it's fine. Gordon, oh, that's crazy, and that's the ball of the second goal. That's the second goal for the European All-Stars, and I think there's left only a few minutes in this match. Of the second goal! That's the second goal! And it was a counter-attack. Keeper lived its box. Just not good. Yes, and was decides to play quickly, but his coach more precise kick in. Oh! And that's a third goal! That is crazy to see that! That is crazy. Keeper couldn't do anything. He was completely stuck on his wheelchair. And that's the third goal. And it will be really hard for Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry to be able to come back and win this game. I think this is the European All-Star that is little by little being drawn. That's crazy, Matthew Crowley again. Matthew Crowley! And that's the fourth goal! That's crazy! That's 4-0. 4-0 for the European All-Stars. I mean, Matthew Crowley! And that's the fourth goal! 3 goals. I mean, 3 goals that happened very quickly. Counter-attacks, and now that the European All-Stars can, I mean, open their game, they've decided to do some substitutions, and I think that's going to be quite impossible. I mean, everything is possible. Noël Zeren. And we can see that now the European All-Stars decides to keep a solid defense block. So, well, we've seen that even if the goalkeeper stays most of the time in its box, it doesn't mean that they will be well protected. Seems that the tactic of Brian Dix is working much better. Abdin Sebian, Amou Kranzila, Youssef Raifai. Oh, and that's a huge strike, and this is the end of this final, and this Geneva's Cup 2019 has been won by the European All-Stars 4-0. That was a wonderful game, a very beautiful game that we've seen. And first half of the game, it was only 1 goal now, and we would have never imagined that that Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry would, I mean, release the pressure so much that they took 3 goals in less than 10 minutes. Burnaby. So it was Giovanni Burnaby for this Geneva's Cup edition 2019, organized by Goal International. That was a very wonderful cup. I say it again, and I'm gonna do a quick resume, a quick sum up in French to tell you what happened. And unfortunately, Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry lost. C'était un très beau tournoi. La Geneva Cup 2019 se termine par une victoire des European All-Stars qui ont gagné cette coupe. Et en effet, on n'imaginait pas à la fin de cette première période qu'Ypsilon Châtenay-Malabry aurait perdu. Je pense qu'on va tenter de faire une petite interview du capitaine Erwan Conk. Petite interview d'Erwan Conk, on va se placer tout de suite. So we're going to do, I think, this interview in French and of the European All-Stars in English. Donc alors attendez, on arrive. moi de choquer ton fauteuil. Bon, Erwan, ça a été difficile. En première période, on pensait que tout était encore possible. Et puis, bon, malheureusement, sur ces 10 dernières minutes, ça a été très difficile. Est-ce que tu peux me dire quelle a été, à ton avis, la raison pour laquelle, voilà, sur la fin du match, il y a eu une baisse de régime ou bien une augmentation du niveau de jeu des autres côtés?
Non, après on a voulu prendre quelques risques en fin de match. Bon, ça n'a pas payé du tout puisqu'on finalement c'est eux qui en ont profité. Après ils ont très bien joué, chose que nous on n'a pas forcément très bien fait. On a eu pas mal d'approximations dans notre jeu. Globalement on n'a pas retrouvé les sensations qu'on aime avoir. Et là on n'était pas très fort, quoi. Après félicitations aux vainqueurs, hein, ils ont fait un très bon match. Nous, il nous reste encore du travail pour démarrer la saison.
Bon, je vous dis bon courage en tout cas pour la suite.
Merci.
Et puis merci pour cette petite interview. On va en profiter cette fois-ci pour interviewer, j'imagine sûrement Chris Gordon. Donc Chris Gordon va venir pour la caméra. Voilà, j'ai le plaisir d'être avec Chris Gordon. I've got the pleasure now to be joined by Chris Gordon. Well, Chris Gordon, how are you? Good. Very good. I give you the mic. So, Chris, I mean, a few months ago, or I should say a few weeks ago, you won the European Champions Cup with England, and now you're winning the Geneva Cup.
Yeah, we're having a good spell at the moment. We keep winning. It's been fantastic. You know, we had a great time at the Euros. We had a very tough game against France there, and the French teams are very strong as well. So, coming together as the All-Stars, never played with each other before. And all gelled as the tournament went on, and a great second half.
Yeah, great second half. Actually, it was quite crazy to see how in 10 minutes you scored 3 goals. What is the reason?
I think we got a little bit more confidence once we scored that second goal. Obviously, they wanted to push up and try and score. So once we broke away and scored that second goal, it opened up a little bit. And you know, we've got internationals in the team, so we can move the ball quickly. And obviously Brian, and a fantastic player. And what a goal from Marouane.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, reverse spin from in his own half. So he got the confidence in the team, and Matt tops it off with a brilliant strike to finish the game.
Yeah. Maybe a last small question about the two youngest players you have. So Matthew Crowley and also Liam Lynch. What can you tell me about them?
Yeah, so they're great lads. I was fortunate enough to work with them as a coach a few weeks ago in Cheltenham. We had a festival that Brian Dix organised, Goals Beyond Grass, and I was invited along as one of the coaches. Met the lads there for the first time, and we were obviously myself and a handful of other coaches were putting the guys through their paces. They came on leaps and bounds there, and in a tournament now they've showcased what they can do. They've been excellent all for the 3 days.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris Gordon, for this quick interview, and congratulations again to all of your team. And I hope you a lot of winning.
Yes. World Cup next, yeah? Yeah, let's go for it. Thank you.
À ton avis, je peux retirer le...